Hi, I'm Catherine Gomes. I'm the author of the series from Apologia, Exploring Creation with Mathematics. And I'm going to give you an overview of the Unit 1 skills practice for Level 2. So the skills practice is a set of skills that you take 5 to 10 minutes each day to practice in addition to the lessons that you're completing in the student book. So it's just something quick, to review, to rehearse it, so that we can really make sure our kids know them and are fluent in those facts. It is all laid out for you in this book, everything I'm gonna say. I just wanted to give it to you in a video in case that's more how you like to absorb information. And I have a few extra tips that I threw in to help you out. So if you look on the suggested pacing guide, you will see that the skill that you're supposed to practice each day is listed there. And in addition, at the beginning of each unit, so for instance, at the beginning of Unit 1, there's a description both of the skills. Sometimes I add some information about why we're reviewing that skill if I think that's important, and then how you're going to practice. Lots of different ideas, more than what any one family would do. I just wanted to give you variety so that you can fine tune it to your family. There are 4 skills in Unit 1, but they're pretty narrow. I kept it pretty specific. So the first skill you're going to practice is doubles facts. I love doubles facts. I don't know, they're fun. They just make me happy. You can always use flashcards with pretty much all these skills. Just make sure if you're doing doubles facts that you go through and pull out the doubles ahead of time. I like to do this the night before. You don't want to give your child a huge stack of flashcards. Not only is that going to frustrate them, it's actually not very effective because it's too much. They have to have something that they can do, and then they're going to build on it, as you'll see in a little bit. Okay? You also can do something with dominoes. These are all the double dominoes that I pulled out. I love these. Don't they just make you happy because they look so symmetrical? So this is just like a way of changing it up. In the book, they make a suggestion that you write down the sums on a piece of paper and you have your child place the domino in the correct spot. Another thing you can do that I think is fun is put all the double dominoes in front of them and say, okay, which one makes 12? Which one makes 0? And then they can grab the domino. This is actually easier than the flashcard because they can count up the dots if they need to. So this is a good one if they're still kind of struggling. So those are your doubles. And then one other thing you can do, that we do this on a busy day, is you can just ask your child to rehearse the facts for you. What's 3 plus 3? What's 5 plus 5? What's 6 plus 6? That actually is higher level thinking. They don't have anything in front of them. So if you ever do that kind of verbal rehearsal, they would have to be pretty fluent in the facts to be able to answer you. From there, we're going to build on to the doubles with doubles plus 1 or doubles minus 1. So that means like 6 plus 7. The reason this is the next group is because if you know 6 plus 6 is 12, then you can use that to get 6 plus 7. So that's what we're doing next. There's a couple different ways that you can practice. Of course, the flashcards, except now instead of grabbing the doubles, just add in the doubles plus 1, the doubles minus 1, and so now you have a bigger set of flashcards. There's also a game that's in lesson 24 of the book. I'm going to show you the game board. It's doubles plus or minus 1. This is what the game board looks like, and it's explained in detail in lesson 24. You would just be playing at a game. Again, you take a die, you roll it, you double it, and you can either add one or take one away. And the goal is to cross out the sums on your side. All right, so that's a really fun way to play. Your third skill is all the addition and subtraction facts within 10. So we're going to be working with all the facts within 20, but these easier ones, these smaller ones that really we probably know from first grade, we're going to review now to get them sharp and to be ready. So you guessed it, flashcards, of course. For subtraction, a popular game at our house is toppling towers of 10. It's a game that's fun to say and fun to play. Each player makes a tower that's 10 high, and when it's your turn, you roll a die, and you get to subtract that many from somebody else's, okay? And when you do it, you have to say the fact. 10 take away 7 equals 3, all right? You keep playing until people are eliminated and only one tower is still standing. That one's a ton of fun. Another thing you can do to just spice up the flashcards is you can write the answers on paper and have them run around the room and lay the flashcards in the correct spot. That's a fun one, and the prep is like almost 0. So we like that one as well at our house. Finally, for skill 4, we're gonna review even and odd. It's taught in the lessons, but a lot of kids need a little more reinforcement. Don't overthink this, okay? One of the best ways you can do this is get like some beans or something and just put an amount, probably between 1 and 20. I would probably do a teen number at this level. Put it in front of your child and ask them, is this even or is this odd? So this is gonna be pretty concrete. Most of them are gonna make pairs, right, to answer you. Then from there, you can go abstract. Give them some numbered cards like Uno, or you might want to use note cards to write out your own numbers so that you can go up to 20, go a little higher, and just say, hey, sort them. So, 2 minutes before their lesson, okay, this is odd, this is even, and they're going to start to notice the patterns. That's a great way to reinforce it. Finally, there are some great books, like picture books, like Even Steven, Odd Todd, that type of thing that are like math picture books you can get out of the library. All right, so the one other like sort of sneaky tip I want to give you that's not in the book is if you used level 1 of Exploring Creation with Mathematics, you already did this skills practice. This skills practice is a review of first grade mathematics. So you have a bunch of things that you can pull out of your back pocket from level 1. So for instance, Snakes and Ladders is a really fun level 1 game that practices doubles. So I don't have a laminator, so I just keep these in sheet protectors and just, whip that out of last year's binder and play that one. Make that number one way or another is another great one for addition and subtraction. The subtraction board game with the rocket ships. And also, doubles plus or minus 1 is included in level 1. So you could pull out, like, especially if your child has a favorite, you could do that. The other thing I was going to suggest to you is if you wanted to do some warm up over the summer, obviously that really depends on your family and your family culture. Some games from level 1 are a great way to kind of get the gears moving. That's what we like to do in August is like homeschool light, and we play some of these games and just get our brain thinking. All right, so hopefully that helps you with the level 1 skills practice, the unit 1 skills practice for level 2 of Exploring Creation with Mathematics. So unit 2 in the level 2 book is 2-digit addition and subtraction. And the skills practice is the facts that really help kids with that skill. So it interconnects really well. Also, Unit 2 in this book is a little lengthier. So there are 3 skills in the skills practice, and that's because you have the time to work through those. All right, so the 3 skills are addition up to 20, subtraction up to 15, and then subtraction up to 20. And what I mean when I say subtraction up to 20, that means like your largest fact would be like 20, take away 5, like in that group. So that's sort of my terminology. All right, now if you remember, the Unit 1 skills practice is addition and subtraction up to 10. So we're building on that now. We're taking it a little further. In this skills practice, flashcards are going to be your best friend. I grabbed these guys. I have one set for subtraction, one for addition. They were super affordable. You can always write your own flashcards, but I definitely think that these are so affordable that it kind of wins out against writing your own. All right, so the skills practice for Unit 2 is described in the pacing guide, so you know exactly what to do when and when you should move from skill 1 to skill 2. Okay, now we're doing subtraction, that type of thing. And it's also all laid out for you here, which facts I'm talking about, why they're important, and of course, some suggested ways that you are going to practice. I'm going to be showing you those and then maybe a few other suggestions. In the teaching guide, I broke it down by each skill. Like, here's some ways to practice addition up to 20. Here's some ways to practice subtraction up to 15. This video, I decided I'm just going to show you all the activities as one group, and you can decide if you want to, assign it a little bit differently when you actually do the skills practice. All right, so like I said, flashcards are your best friend. The most basic thing that you can do is just have your child flip through some flashcards before they start their lesson. That's fine. Simple and easy works for some of these, especially since the content that they have in their student book for this unit is really gonna, you know, stretch them. It's good, rich unit, so doing something quick might be just fine. I did want to point out, not all flashcards are equal. I really like these guys for a couple reasons. Like I said before, they were affordable, so that was great. I don't feel like we have to spend a lot of money on flashcard. I liked the clean design. I thought that was really great. It's really easy to see the numbers. The answer is on the back, so I can have my students self-check. Sometimes what we do is I lay out like 15 flashcards and he just goes through answers and flips, and then tells me if he got any wrong. I also like the 2 different side colors because when we play a game, to avoid confusion, I'll say, okay, blue is the side we're playing with, and that way, you know, it doesn't get crazy. So that's a couple things to keep in mind. Also, if you're using flashcards, this would maybe involve 2 sets, or maybe you make a note card set. But it is important to have kids practice with both formats. So you want to make sure they know the vertical format and the horizontal format. It doesn't take a lot, like, for them to see the connection, but if you only ever practice it one way, that can be tricky for them. Now, if your child gets bored with flashcards and you want to jazz it up, there are several ways you can do that by taking flashcards and turning it into a game. So a simple one is Flashcard Go Fish. In this, instead of matching numbers that are the same, you'd have to match facts that have the same sum or have the same difference. Okay, so 11 plus 5 matches with 10 plus 6. So that's fun. Actually, that's pretty tricky. You can also do memory that way, and you have to match facts that have the same sum or the same difference. Another great one is War. Oh, I love War. This is one of it's good. It's basically they're flipping through lots of flashcards, but there's a way to win. So you have a set of flashcards. You know, you need to make sure there aren't facts in here that aren't what they are supposed to be practicing, either too hard or too easy. And then you split the stack of facts in half. You want to clarify which side you're playing with because that can get confusing. Each player flips over. Whoever has the greater sum wins the cards. If you tie, you do 1 card down, 1 card up, 1 card down, and do a tiebreaker like that. It's lots of fun. It really increases the engagement, and it's not that much more complicated. And feel free in a game like that, the Go Fish, the Memory, or the War, if you have an older student, have them play the game with your younger child. That relieves you from being tied up in the game, but also it's so good for that older child to review. So, you know, don't feel guilty about asking the older child to help with that. Another one is 10 in a row. So 10 in a row is where if you have this fact, 7 plus 8, now you're going to try to find, you know, a fact that equals 14, a fact that equals 16, and you keep going until you have 10 sums in a row, or you can do it with differences going up consecutively. Okay, last but not least are fact families. Now, this one is so rich for your child in terms of the idea, but it does involve a little more prep for you. So in order to do a fact family, you are matching an addition fact with a related subtraction fact. So this guy would match with 15 minus 7 or 15 minus 8. I have found from personal experience, this one is way easier for you to just write out facts on note cards rather than sorting through, because it takes a surprisingly long time to sort through the addition facts, sort through the subtraction facts, and make sure there's pairs. So this is the one instance where, like, just grab some note cards and you write pairs so that everybody has a buddy. You know, every fact has a related fact, and then you have your child match them. But that is helping them see the connection between addition and subtraction. And we always want them to see the connections. You don't want, you know, your child's brain to have this room over here for addition and this room over here for subtraction, and they don't see that, like, they're inverses. They hang out, right? Addition undoes subtraction. Subtraction undoes addition, okay? All right, that's important. It doesn't just have to be flashcards. Worksheets work well. You know, some kids love these. Do you know where I got this? This is from the Book Extras website. We have so many resources for you on there. And just like I said, not all flashcards are equal. Not all worksheets are equal. So we worked hard to create clean, nicely designed, simple worksheets with the right amount of space, and so that your child can be successful. So make sure you take a peek on there. Print off a few in advance so you have it ready to go. All right, finally, my bonus suggestion here is one that I think we don't always think of as parents. you could just verbally question your child. So this is more towards the end of the skills practice when they're seeming pretty confident about these addition facts and these subtraction facts. A little discussion can go a long way. I like to ask open-ended questions like, give me a subtraction fact that has a difference of 6. And then they have to think of one, all right? Or tell me 2 facts that have the same sum or something like that. And just in that discussion, that math discussion, we really get into, some meaty connections. All right, I hope that helps. So in Unit 2 of the student book, your child learned how to do 2-digit addition and 2-digit subtraction and all that fun regrouping. Lots of concepts, lots of new material for them. In Unit 3, they're gonna move on to learning about money and time, but they're gonna continue to practice 2-digit addition and 2-digit subtraction in the skills practice. Now, all of this is in the teaching guide, just so you know that you do have it in written form. The skills are recorded on the suggested pacing guide below the lesson. And then in the intro to each unit in the teaching guide, the specific skills are listed. And then we've also laid out different ways you can practice, because the idea is for you to find the things that work best for your family, because that really varies. It varies based on the student and it varies based on the homeschool parent. All right, let me give you some suggestions. Let's start with 2-digit addition. So this first one's super simple, but I think it'll work great when we get to level 2 in my house. Write a 2-digit addition fact on a note card and just have them answer one fact before they do their lesson. So I'm planning on doing something like this and just laying it on top of their book. They know to answer this before they start their lesson. My kids love note cards. I think they're gonna be excited about this. Also, you're their parent. You know where they're at. So you could write some facts in the beginning that don't require regrouping, and then you can work up to the harder ones from there, okay? All right, some other things you can do. We have provided worksheets for you because sometimes some kids love worksheets and sometimes a worksheet is what we need. So we have these lovely, spaciously designed, simple worksheets that are available on the Book Extras website. So go ahead and print some of those if you'd like to do a worksheet. What about some games? All right, one of my favorite games for 2-digit addition is Make the Greatest. Now, how you make it a game can kind of vary, but let me just kind of explain, the basic concept. You need some numbered cards, so your child would pick some cards. Those are their digits, and they need to make an addition problem that has the greatest sum. I do a mat like this in our house for them to lay the cards on, because this really helps, and then they can write their answer on the bottom. You can do it a couple different ways. You can give the same digits to 2 players. You can lay out 10 digits and let each player take turns picking and then see who gets the greatest sum, that kind of thing. Or it doesn't have to be a competition. But I don't know. It's kind of fun for them because they get to make the problem themselves. All right. And then one last one for the addition is a game that was included included in the lesson. This is the spinners, the 2-digit addition spinners. So that you have a copy of those spinners that tear out from the teaching guide. And it's really simple. They put a paper clip on the page and flick it, and they'll get one of these numbers. Let me make sure you can see this. One of these and then one of these, and they add them together. So what I think would be fun is to have your spinners ready, and each morning before you do a lesson, have them spin, spin, add, we're done, okay? I don't know, it's fun because you get to spin it. All right, let's talk about subtraction. Probably a little bit of a trickier skill, at least for me. I'm more of an addition girl. You can do the same thing with the note cards, okay? To have them do, one 2-digit subtraction fact. You could do these in a batch. On Sunday night, you write out 5 and you're ready to go. Just give them one each day, right? Make your life simple. We also have worksheets for you on the Book Extras website. I'm excited about these because design of a worksheet makes a big difference. There's so many cluttered worksheets out there. I really like these. Nice, clean, makes you want to do math. Race to 0. Again, this is a game that they played when they did Unit 2, but if they liked it, you could just use this again to practice. Now, Race to 0 is a little more involved, so it would take a little more time. They start with a certain number of base 10 blocks, typically 100, and they roll dice and subtract back from there. And whoever gets to 0 first wins. So again, that one will take a little more time, but this is good, especially if your child's struggling for a little bit of review because it's concrete, okay? So it would help reinforce those regrouping ideas. Or, just like we did with addition, we have the spinners. So these are the subtraction spinners. This is more involved to design because I had to make sure that they spun a bigger number first and then a smaller number to subtract it. Just keep those spinners out, have them spin and subtract each day. All right, those are my suggestions. I hope you have a great Unit 3 skills practice. So in this skills practice, we are going to be reviewing the skills of counting up coins because we learned a lot about money in the last unit, and then also telling time. So kids had a lot of fun learning about time and money in Unit 3, but most kids are going to need more practice, and so that's why we have it on this skills practice. It is laid out in the pacing guide in the front, so that you know exactly what to do when. And then it's also explained in detail for you in the teaching guide. All right, well, let's look up counting up coins first of all. Well, I think the simplest and probably most motivated way is to have real coins that your kid counts up and sees how much they have. So if they have a piggy bank or if you have a coin jar, you can have them count, their own savings that they've gotten from doing chores and things like that. Or you can take your coin jar and just give them different amounts each day and have them find the total. Really fun. That's concrete. It's applied to real life. So that's probably the best way to do it. But we do have some other suggestions. So you could play Coin War. So what's Coin War? Well, they played this in Unit 3, but let me just show it to you to refresh your memory. All right, so what happens is each kid has a brown bag with some coins in it, and there's 2 players at least. You can have more than that. They reach in and they grab a certain number of coins blind without feeling, try not to cheat and grab those quarters, and whoever has the highest amount wins all the coins, all right? That one is fun. Also, spin to $1. So in spin to $1, they use this spinner. You put a paper clip right here with a pencil and just flick it. It actually works really well, and it's so much easier than like a real spinner. And they get whatever amount is on here, and whichever player gets to $1 first wins. And this is noted before you start Unit 3, but you really want to have them with real coins. I know that can sometimes be a little bit of a hassle, but that's the best way for them to learn this, is to be working with real coins. It's worth the time and effort to do that. All right, so that's the coins. Now, let's talk about telling time. So they did so much practice with telling time, but they're gonna need additional practice. All right, simplest thing, just like I said, have them count up coins with time. You wanna have an analog clock. If you own one, put that front and center in your homeschool room and just ask them occasionally, okay, what time is it? Tell me this. Maybe every day when you start math, they tell you the time. You could change your settings on your phone so that it doesn't display digitally. It displays, with the hands. That could be a great way to do that. And, if they start using things like half pass, quarter till, even better. That can be kind of like a bonus that you're working towards. Another idea is they created a paper clock themselves, a paper plate clock. You can see right here that has the hands and it helps them with the minutes and that type of thing. So you can practice this skill by you telling them a couple different times, and they have to show you on the clock. And then finally, there was a matching activity that looks like this in lesson 67. So it's like cards where they have to match the digital time, the words, and then the clock, and keep those in an envelope and just have them play that real quick as part of the skills practice. This is a fun one. I hope you enjoy this skills practice. In Unit 5, in the student book, kids are learning about measurement and data. At the same time, they're taking 5 to 10 minutes a day to review 3-digit addition and 3-digit subtraction, because we want to really reinforce that skill. Now, keep in mind, they've already done a lot of work with 2-digit addition and 2-digit subtraction. So really, we're just building a little bit more on that with adding that 3rd digit. So what are some different ways that you can practice? Well, let's start with addition. One of the simplest things is a worksheet we have created these for you and you can print them off the Book Extras website. So go ahead and do that. Some people even do this. You know how it's a 4-day week? They take that 5th day that we didn't include on the pacing guide and they do one of these worksheets just to reinforce this skill. Another thing is if it worked well for you when you were practicing 2-digit addition, you can do the note card facts where you just write down, not even a fact, note card problems. So where you just write down one 3-digit addition problem, have your child do it, check it, they're done, all right? What I like about this is it's not overwhelming. I think kids who sometimes are like, oh, I don't want to do this, it's just one problem. So you can encourage them to, try your best, focus, do the problem, it's just one, and then we can move on, which is kind of nice, a little less overwhelming than a whole set of problems. All right, you could play a game, roll and add. So you have 3 dice, you roll, you use that to make your digits and then make another 3-digit number and add it together, right? To turn this into more of a game, you have 2 players. Each player rolls and adds, and whoever gets the greater sum wins. And so they have to learn like, ooh, where should I place my digits in order to get the higher number? And then that keeps them from just writing a really easy addition problem. A little bit of a variation on that is roll to 1,000, where they keep rolling and adding. So like I just got 442, and then I would roll again. What's this? 432. So 442 plus 432, keep adding until you get to 1,000. You can get there pretty quickly. So that one is a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about subtraction, 3-digit subtraction. Of course, we've provided worksheets for you on the Book Extras website. Go ahead and print those out so you have them. You can do the note card facts. Also, keep in mind when you're practicing, you do want to make sure that they can subtract across a 0, which is a little trickier. That's probably the biggest, increase in skill from 2-digit subtraction. So make sure they can do that. Actually, on this one, like if it was 117 instead of 107, and they had to regroup. Okay. Okay. Race to 0. So you can do this with or without base 10 blocks. But with base 10 blocks, you would start at a certain amount, maybe 500. I have 400 here. Everybody starts with a certain amount, and they roll the dice, and then they subtract that many from the blocks. So they're going to be regrouping in order to subtract it. You can also take the blocks away and just play race to 0. Like, okay, we're all going to start with 1,000. Whoever subtracts down to 0 first wins. And then one other suggestion is biggest difference. So in this, you deal each player 6 numbered cards. Those are their digits that they have to work with. They have to arrange them to make a subtraction problem. Like, okay, so I'm going to do 753 or something, and then I'm going to subtract, 418. And whoever gets the biggest difference wins the game. So guess what? The Unit 6 skills practice is a repeat of a skill that you practiced in Unit 5, 3-digit subtraction. Now, I did that for 2 reasons. One, because 3-digit subtraction is a little trickier and some kids need more time. The other reason is this last unit is pretty short. It's only 8 days, so I didn't want to have them do anything new. Here are some ways that you can practice. Probably the easiest thing you can do is laid out for you as the first suggestion in the teaching guide. There is a set of problems provided, and you can just copy those exact problems onto a note card and give one to your child each day, and you are good to go. It's the end of the year, right? Why make it complicated? You also can play race to 0. There's different ways to do this. You can use base 10 blocks to help your child, or they can just use the number in their head. Each player starts with a certain number, like 1,000. You would roll 3 dice. On your turn to make a 3-digit number, I got 662, and then subtract that. Whoever gets to 0 first wins the game, right? Like I said, you can use the base 10 blocks to make it concrete, or you can decide not to. And you also could play the biggest difference, where you deal digits to each player. Each player would get 6 because we're doing 3-digit subtraction, and they create their own subtraction problem using those digits, and whoever's problem has the larger difference wins. All right, well, I hope that helps.